Just from the shoot around this morning when we got in, saw Jay without the wraps and they'll keep us some shots out. Good is that to see, okay, look, the progress is being made for them to get back.
I mean, it's good to see, and I'm glad progress is being made. I'm glad when they're back.
Okay, give us an update on Aiden, please, and where he's at.
There's no update. He's hasn't done any court work or anything like that, so nothing to report. But it is good to see Jay and JaVale taking some steps. And Jay had a decent workout yesterday, but we've been really cautious with him. I know how bad he wants. I mean, he and JaVale are just like, I had a good talk with JaVale today about where he is in his career. These are as bad as we want to win. We also care about the well-being of our guys. So, he's beating himself up about stuff he can't control. You know what I'm saying? And that's, you have conversations with those guys about that. I get it, but at the same time, I'm aware of the big picture and just want those guys to come back and be totally healthy as best you can at this point in the season.
Monty, when you look at Minnesota and the way that they force turnovers, how much of a strength do you see for them, just with the amount of athletes that they have in life?
That's how they force them. They have length and athleticism. They go after the ball a lot, passes on the dribble. You can't play in a crowd with these guys. It's just a thing that when you watch film, you have to get the ball from side to side as best you can and try to punish the weak side when the initial action isn't there. And they've been able to cause some havoc with teams all year long with their aggressive play. And they have players that, Pat Bev is one of the more aggressive defenders in the league. And I think that's translated to their team well.
To your point, it just seems like there's these little 2 or 3 minute stretches they create where it's running up and down.
Mm-hmm.
Teams trying to take advantage of their gambling. Is there a balance between not getting too sped up when a team is pursuing the way they do, I guess, gambling maybe?
Yeah, I think you can still play fast, but you don't want to be sped up. I think playing fast but efficient is how we want to play, and we typically do that off stops where the floor is spread and we get the ball to our key ball handlers and they facilitate. The key is getting stops and getting the rebound. They're one of the few teams I've seen this year that will gamble in the backcourt consistently. We saw it a bit with Utah, with Forrest. He was gambling on some of our rebounds. And with this team, you have to be aware of that as well.
Edwards is up there in the scoring leaderboard. So what have you seen from him defensively?
It's just long. He has the athleticism to sit down and stay in front of his man. He's got long arms. I didn't know that about him until you watched him last year play, and now you see him, and he's a freak athlete. So those guys can cover ground even when they make a one-on-one defensive mistake. They can still cover ground. It's just a phenomenal basketball player. You forget how young he is, but his ability to use that athleticism on both ends is pretty unique. He has some James Harden in him when he's attacking the basket. He's so strong, he can get the ball through hands to draw fouls, and we have to be aware of that.
What do you think enabled them to make a leap from last year to this year offensively?
I mean, I'm sure you just put the work in. That's how you get better. You get confidence, I'm sure, from having success your first year, but then you have to put the work in so you don't regress. It happens to second-year players from time to time. He hasn't had that regression at all. He's had these 40-point games. I saw some stat where for his age, he's one of the top, whatever, to get 40-point games. I mean, you don't fall into that. You have to apprehend that with a lot of hard work.
Something with Ish this morning, we were saying that when he took that three in the corner, that he overheard you saying, shoot it. And he said he heard the vet saying, you know, let it go, let it fly. But just empowering guys, regardless of whether they're the starter team or two-way guys. How important is that, particularly when the lineup is shorter and guys that haven't played as much but having to play more?
Yeah, that's been our mentality since I've been here. I mean, we generate open shots because of the guys we have that draw double teams or can touch the paint. And, guys work on their games. So why get in the game and be, hesitant or, so we have let it fly mentality. I'm sure you guys get tired of hearing that, but it is what it is. Our guys put the work in. And so when they get into the game, all of our guys want to encourage each other, but I think when they hear it from me, it may add a bit more confidence to the player's mindset. I think Ish was surprised when he heard it was me saying it, but it's just who we are.
He seemed like he was surprised even this morning. Like he still had that look of, yeah, he told me to shoot it. I was like, you're open, so let it go. But
some guys I don't have to tell. So
yeah.
Some guys you want to encourage.
Monty, I might be off base here, but when Cam Johnson gets this many opportunities this year to be in the starting lineup as a coach, does that make it easier for you to leave him in for the end of games when everyone is 100% or even campaign first?
It's happened before, whether it's at the 3 or the 4. He's finished games for us. And the cool part about our team is whether it's for Mikhail or Jay, those guys don't care. They just want to win. The guys don't always like coming out of the game, but I get that. But I think, for us, Cam is a starter that comes off the bench in a normal economy, but we certainly don't mind having him out there in end of game situations down the stretch. Last game we had him taking the ball out in an end of game situation underneath the basket. Like that's a huge responsibility for us because you got to know the environment, but you also have to know the count from the referee and you have to know the timeout situation. You just can't go down there taking the ball out, but we trust him like we do Jay in that situation.
Talking about Cam and Bill especially, just address there and Cam's maybe defense overall and how it continues to almost be overlooked, but like just quietly and subtly going about making an impact in the game.
Yeah. I mean, you can't be where we are defensively and not have guys with that size that can guard multiple positions and have the ability to sit down and guard the ball and have the acumen on the weak side. And I think that's where Cam has grown, is his ability to read weak side rotations. We started the season, he and campaign were a little bit behind in that area. And they've both grown a ton on the weak side. And to be honest with you, that's where a lot of defensive games are won. When you're taking out the initial attack from the really good teams, they can kill you on the backside. And if you can't rotate properly, you're not going to do well. And he's gotten a lot better in that regard.
And how do you make that jump? Better weak side, is that film study?
It's everything. Film, repetition in some of the drills that we try to implement. But a lot of it is just seeing yourself on film and digesting the feedback, getting into the drills and understanding when you rotate, who has the ball that we're trying to get, out of their hands, and then who you're rotating to. Sometimes you could be rotating to a hot shooter or a cold shooter. You have to understand that. I think it just takes a number of reps in practice and then in games. That's where you learn if you can do it.
Thank you.
Yep, thank you.